Hello and welcome back to 30 Days to Learn Photoshop. This is day 24, customising Photoshop's appearance and workspace. My name's Ben Gribbin and in today's lesson we're going to learn how to tweak Photoshop to suit our skill set and workflow. So let's go ahead and switch to Photoshop. So far we've shown you the basics of the Photoshop interface in our first couple of lessons, and now we're going to show you how to customise the overall appearance of Photoshop to your liking. So if you're working on a Mac and also on Windows, you've got the option of either window mode or the application frame. So currently we have application frame mode turned on. So what this does is it gives Photoshop an application frame which you can resize. You can have another document, another program, whatever you want open over here and still be able to work within Photoshop as normal. Now that suits people who are perhaps working from specifications and briefs, using reference material that you can't import into Photoshop. However, some people prefer to have Photoshop their main program that's taking up all of their attention. So in order to do that, if you go onto Window and go onto the application frame and turn that off, you'll see now Photoshop is either open or closed. And so this is kind of just restricting our concentration down to Photoshop. Unfortunately on Mac it actually does have a see-through background for whatever reason, but all the same options and tools work as they would normally. It just gives you a bit more screen real estate and means that you can't flick between programs as easily by accident. So if you go into Window again, you'll notice we've got the option here for Workspace, and I believe this was introduced in CS 1 or 2. So you have the essentials, which is the default, and that works fine for basically everybody. However, you've also got a couple more options. You've got this new in CS5 option, which loads in different tools and settings and panels that are new to your latest or the version of Photoshop you're using. It actually highlights all the different ones that are all the new tools, so this could be used to perhaps just learn all new tools in an update. Not really as useful in your day-to-day workflow. However, these 5 here are much more useful. So you've got the option to use a 3D tool set. This is suited to people who are working with source 3D files. They can edit 3D. You can actually spin them around and all kinds of cool stuff. You've got a design one, which is a bit of a general one. Could be used for web design, print design, that sort of thing. And you'll notice just some of the tools and palettes are changing. So this is what Adobe's decided is more suited to that application. Motion allows you to create animations, very simple animations in Photoshop, and very few of the tools have really changed there. More of the panels and this animation timeline has been opened. Painting is designed for sort of conceptual artists, and if you're using a tablet with your Photoshop installation, it'll be a lot easier to scroll and navigate around this interface. And then finally you've got photography, which is aimed more at photographers. So you've got things like the histogram, navigator information, adjustments that you can make to the colours and levels, and also you've got layers as a standard down here. You don't have things like the character panel here, but you do have actions and history panels, as well as a clone source panel. In order to reset any panels, if you did make changes, just click on Reset under the Workspace menu, and also you can create your own workspaces by clicking on New Workspace and then giving it a name, setting out keyboard shortcuts and things like that, and then literally organising it as you want, going back to Workspace, and that is now there and selected. As you can see, if we go to Window Workspace, we have our custom workspace which we could save, and you could use that if you have multiple users on your machine, or you just have different tasks you're going to be using Photoshop for. So you could actually customize each of those workspaces to better suit the task. And you can obviously delete the workspaces, you can remove them. You can't delete the active one, so let's switch back to Essentials, which is the default. Go to Workspace, go to Delete Workspace. I'm going to delete the one we've just made. You can make changes to any of the custom or presets interfaces in Photoshop. So let's just open up the design one. Let's say we want the character panel and paragraph panels to be over here because we like them small and they extend over our work and they're a little bit closer. That's fine. And then if we switch to motion and then come back to design, it will have saved our settings to that file. In order to reset it to default, literally just select that as your current workspace and hit reset design. So very simple, very easy. You'll also notice you've got some quick shortcuts up here so we can switch between them if you wanted to do so. Now removing panels and moving them around is very, very easy. In order to remove a panel so you can sort of take it with you to all your work, just click it and drag it and you get this minimized, smaller version. In order to minimize or expand it, click on this grey icon here on the top bar and click on it, this one here, to expand it. Very, very simple stuff. You can put it back again just by dragging it over. If you want to make it big, put it into here. And these kind of work similar to the way layers work. You'll see you get a blue line wherever you want the element to drop, or you can place it within another panel by making sure the highlighter goes around that panel. And you can minimize them over here as well, just by clicking onto close or close tab group, again using the collapse options here. Lots of different settings, so do have a play around with them and tweak it to your workflow. Let's just make a new document and show you one final thing. We're going to go File, New, use all these custom settings. Let's reset our workspace just so we're back to the default. And we're going to show you things called extras. So this is our document down here. Let's just resize that to fit into this space. This is our document. We are going to go onto View and make sure extras are turned on. Within extras, you've got a series of options. You've got the ability to add grids, which we've discussed in the pen tool lesson. You've also got things like a pixel grid, which is when you zoom into the full zoom, can't actually see it on there, you've got all the pixels outlined. So that's something you might want on, then again you might want turned off. That depends entirely on you. Layer edges just shows you where the edges of layers are. So that might be something that you find handy, especially when you're just getting started, to be able to see where and what you're actually selecting. And then if we go back to View, Extras, let's just turn that grid off. Let's go on to rulers. These are something that you will find absolutely invaluable, particularly if you're working on website design. So you turn them on and off, press Command or Control R. And these can be used in a variety of units. You just right click on the ruler bar and you can set pixels, which is usually a preferred one. You can create these guides with this tool, which are very, very handy. So these guides allow you to line things up. You can have elements snap to them, so even a paintbrush will snap to those if you have it set onto snap. And you can see there it's kind of snapping, helping us paint a straight line. However, that can be slightly annoying if you've got snap on, because let's say we wanted to do a diagonal line, it kind of clicks in the middle, which we don't want it to do. So that's something that you'll want to experiment with to get right. You can create multiple rulers by clicking on this option here and then placing those wherever you want, but just manually clicking onto the ruler bar, dragging down, creates a line that is horizontal from the horizontal one and a vertical one from there, and you can use these to snap objects to, snap your selections to, paint nice neat elements and just aligning objects together. So that's rulers, guides and grids. So what have we learned in today's lesson? Well, we've looked at arranging the workspace and tools, and we also considered guides, rulers and grids. And your task for this lesson is to tweak Photoshop's interface and workspace till you are happy with it. Tweak the layout until it suits your intended use. Next time on 30 Days to Learn Photoshop, we're going to look at the eraser and spot healing tools. Thanks for listening.